Hi, everyone. My name is Isabel Oyoung.
And I'm Marianne Davidson.
Today, we'll be talking about behavior-specific praise. The case study we'll be focusing on is titled Effective Use of Behavior-Specific Praise, a middle school case study. So before we get into it, I want to go over our outline of this presentation and what we'll talk about. So first, we'll go over behavior-specific praise, key components, implementation, our example scenario. The main example scenario is the case study and the journal article we read, the outcomes of that case study. Then we'll discuss some pros and cons of behavior-specific praise. Finally, we'll end with a short video of behavior-specific praise in action. Then, if anyone's interested in more reading, we'll have a list of our references. Okay, so I wanted to start by talking about the goal of behavior-specific praise. So we use behavior-specific praise because it can be an alternative to punitive reactionary disciplines like timeouts, office referrals, suspensions. It can be a preventative first line of defense in classroom management that is also easy to implement. I'll read this quote from our case study. Praise statements allow teachers to provide feedback on the specific student behavior they are trying to reinforce. Praise is effective in providing encouragement, building self-esteem, and promoting positive teacher-student relationships. And you'll notice in the bottom right corner, I have a little sticky note. In our readings, it suggests a ratio of 4:1 positive interactions for every negative interaction. In one of our class readings, our response to intervention reading, Bursack and Banks suggest a 3:1 ratio of positive to corrective feedback. So no matter our specific strategies, it's clear that being methodical about our positive feedback is a powerful and studied tool for classroom management. So what is behavior-specific praise? Behavior-specific praise, you'll also see it referred to as BSP, is a classroom management strategy in which teachers include a specific behavior in a teacher praise. So it's teacher praise plus inclusion of specific behavior. And I have an orange box on the left that details teacher praise. So teacher praise or general praise is when a teacher gives an affirmative statement following the completion of a behavior, and this can be academic, this can be social. When we add the inclusion of specific behavior, which is when the teacher specifies the behavior for which the praise is delivered, then it becomes behavior-specific praise. So I have some informal examples. For the sake of time, we'll just focus on our imaginary secondary student, Safi. So our non-behavior specific praise example or general teacher praise is nice work, Safi. We can turn that into behavior specific praise in the following statements. This is our academic specific example. Nicely done, Safi. I see that you've completed your work. And then we have a social specific example. Thank you, Safi, for sharing your materials with Ashley. We also have some examples for an elementary school student or just referring to a whole group or a whole class. So if you're interested, you can take a look. I'm going to move on to the key components of behavior-specific praise. First, it should be behavior-specific. That means explicit feedback is provided about what the student is doing. The second aspect, providing feedback, is about delivering the praise after the expected behavior occurs. Thirdly, it should be sincere. So when you provide the praise, it's authentic and it's not given for something that's not important or not valued. Next, it should reflect student skill level. Then Lastly, it should be evaluated for effectiveness. So praise statements alone are not an intervention. It also should involve observations and data collection of how effective behavior specific praise is for your class, and also how your students, individual or as a class, are responding. Next is classroom implementation. So we broke this down into three clear parts. The first is establishing behavioral expectations. So this is when you explicitly teach behavioral expectations as a part of creating a safe and respectful classroom environment. Next, you should scan the classroom, look for students engaging in these pre-established behaviors. You can use instruction time, transitions, or downtime as an opportunity. Thirdly, you praise the student. This involves stating the name of your student, then describing the behavior immediately after the student performs it. And next, I'm going to pass this along to Miriam.
All right, thanks, Isabel. So over here, we see the study that is outlined in our article. It involved two eighth grade math teachers, Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones. They were both in their first year as teachers. They were having trouble managing their classrooms. They had a high rate of office referrals. Usually the function of their students' behavior was to escape, because when they went to the office or when they talked out, they would just escape from having to be in math class. And they did try other strategies to address misbehaviors. They were using reprimands as the main approach, but the teacher said that they were having little impact on improving behavior. So the local university sent the researchers there, and those are the people who wrote our article. They wanted to know how effective behavior-specific praise was within eighth graders, older kids, and they wanted to know how behavior-specific praise would affect the number of reprimands and how it would impact the behavior in general. So they trained the teachers in how to use behavior-specific praise. They gave them a motivator device, which is this one that you can see on the right. This is a device that looks like a page, and you can attach it to your belt. It will vibrate on an interval of time that you set it up to do so. So each time that the vibrator would go off, you would deliver a behavior-specific praise. That's how the researchers train the teachers. And right after that, they started with the implementation of the plan. On the next slide, you have here the pre-baseline, which consisted in preliminary observations where the researchers informally confirmed the offset referrals, the talkouts, and other interruptions in class. And then they started to the baseline, where they recorded how many times they reprimanded the kids, how many times they interrupted the class. So that was the baseline. And how many times also they delivered behavior-specific praise, which was 0 for both teachers. Then there was the teacher training, which I talked about, and the intervention. And one of the measurement procedures consisted in collecting this data 2 times a week over 8 weeks. So this study took 8 weeks to be completed. And when you talk about social validity, it means that the researchers asked the teachers how they felt about the study, and they answered that it was easy to implement. So it is social valid. It is easy to implement. And also they perceived that it was effective. And also they said that they probably would use it in the future. So the outcomes you can see on the right side on a picture. You see the baseline, which were the number of disruptions per minute before the interventions with Mr. Smith first. It was about 2.5 per minute. two and a half. And then after the intervention, after they delivered the behavior specific praise each 4 minutes and more, it decreased. And the same happened to the number of reprimands. The number of reprimands were very high. And then after delivering general praise, which happened naturally, the researchers did not tell the teachers should do so, but it naturally increased the number of general praise and the specific behavior praise. And because of that, the reprimands went down. And the same happened for Mr. Jones, as you can see on the pictures below. So reflecting on outcomes of this study, we as new teachers could definitely rely on behavior-specific praise as a valid tool to help with the management of our classrooms. But not only that, we have to be aware that it is not like a magic bullet. It won't solve all behavioral problems, but it has potential if used in conjunction with other strategies. So the pros of using behavioral specific praise is that it is easy to implement. There's no cost. If you can't afford motivator, you can always use your phone, your smartwatch. There are apps that will do the same for you. You can also put reminders throughout your classroom, so it's very low effort. It is effective, and as we saw, it is research based, and it does increase the teacher awareness of general praise, which happened in a study, and also behavior specific praise and reprimand, so they are aware of how many it's happening, and can also be used across all age ranges and grades, as it is proved in this study. It worked with older students, and we have a lot of research on elementary ages. And also in other article that we read, it says that it's effective for students with emotional behavior disorder. But the cons are that the behavioral specific praise will depend on how the student will receive it. Like they might not be comfortable receiving public praise, or if they are trying to escape from adult attention, it won't work. So it has to be recorded, and you have to collect data to understand if it is working. It cannot be used as a one single method. And over here, I'm gonna get back to Isabel. She will explain our example in a video.
All right, thank you. So we'll play this short video. Keep an ear out for when the teacher uses the phrase learner look.
I like how Brooke is ready to go with her learner look. So is Gavin.
When the teacher uses the phrase learner look, she is referencing an explicitly taught behavior expectation that she defined to her class prior to this video. So this is a pretty clear example of the first step in implementation, establishing behavioral expectations. After that, she scans the classroom, second step, using an activity transition as an opportunity to implement behavior-specific praise. Finally, she praises the student. So that's the third step. It involves calling the student out by name, Brooke, and describing her behavior after she performs it. So she's ready to learn. She's sitting with her learner look. Next, I wanted to close out with this final quote. That's from a different study written by the same people who performed the middle school case study. I think it sums up really well what behavior-specific praise is about. When teachers maintain a positive tone in their interactions with students, they set the stage for improved student behavior. Thank you. Please feel free to get in touch with us. You can contact us at our emails below or comment on the discussion board, and here are references.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.